Good morning, my friends. Good morning to you. Going live early again because I got here at 5:30 in case we Neil. You're funny. Hi. Hi, Neil. I got a really curly head today. The curly head today. Good morning. Oh, lucky I logged on just now. Hello. That's right. That's why I planned it. I planned it that way. Hello, Neil. Hello, Neil. Yeah, I know. I can't. I don't know. It's if I'm home, like if I've gotten home, I'm good, Neil. How are you? If I'm home, then I might as well go live. It's kind of silly not to go live. I don't. I looked much better in the mirror. I don't know why this is like happening now, but anyway, I still look like one of the evil stepsisters. I'm in my evil stepsister era. Okay. Anyway, good morning. And also I noticed I had a message on my on the comments. Hi Grace Lisa. How are you, sweetheart? I had a message from a new viewer, Super Salty. Now, Super Salty is he doesn't think he's MAGA, I guess. I'm not sure what he thinks he is. Actually, I'd be really interested to have a conversation with Super Salty, to be honest with you. He's what I would call a chud. He doesn't seem to call himself a chud, which is fine. But he is part of the, I don't even remember him as part of the convoy, so I think he's like an NPC, like a side character. No, it's not. No, definitely not. Definitely not Max. Super Salty is a guy who is he streams, but he also was like a chatter, I think. Again, I don't really remember him from the convoy days, but I guess he must have been around, so cuz he's coming up now. But anyway, he yeah, right, so do I. He also I've had arguments in his chat, once in a while. I don't really go in there. But once I was in there, and he is really hell bent on this, lefties just have Trump derangement syndrome kind of thing. That's kind of his thing, his kick. Um, Yet he does seem like he's literate. So I think there's that. Hi, Dan. Hi, Michael. How are you? Anyway, so and he seems to be empathetic, or at least he claims that he loves everybody and all that kind of stuff. So I mean, he doesn't like me, or I guess he doesn't like me, but he agreed to sub to my channel just to kind of find out what I talk about, which is great. And exactly, I know he really has the worst people hanging out, but he seems to think that he doesn't know what they're about. He doesn't understand why a stalker shouldn't be in your chat, right? Like literally that Bullets guy is a stalker. Like he's a stalker. All he does is exist on the internet to he doxed me multiple times. Like he's gone after people's children and used their images. I mean, it's just weird. And I think, Salty, if you really care, then you would actually keep your chat a little cleaner. Jerry Robertson, another one. She's like a weirdo chud that I don't even remember. Was she the nostrils girl? Was she the one with the nostrils who'd always film herself sitting up? I don't even know. Anyway. Yeah, you're right, Honey Max. He has the worst of the worst. But anyway, so he said he'd be willing to watch my show and, maybe I'm not an evil leftist or something like that. Yeah, he's probably going to consider you Beelzebub. Anyway, but he left a note. That's why I'm talking about him, is because he left a note. He said, "I'm subscribed. I'll read through." I don't know what read through means, because this is a visual show. I don't know. I do read a lot. That's for sure. But you don't have to read. I do the reading, so you don't have to read. Anyway, but he said, I will read through, hopefully more informative than Al's grade school channel, because he's dissing Al Munson, who really just has like a trolly kind of like, we talk about the neighborhood kind of thing. Jerry rocks in a rocking chair and chain smokes, has a weird blinking cabinet behind her. I think she's Nostril Girl. I thought she was not. Maybe that's Jamie. So I think she's another J name. Anyway. Sorry, we delved into convoy land, and I didn't really want to do that. That's not why I came on live. But I did see Salty's comment, so I thought I'd acknowledge it. In case he's watching, I doubt he is. But you know what, Salty? I just think you should give us a chance here on the left side of life, because we actually also do care about other people, and that's kind of how we roll. So join us. We're not really all that evil, I guess. I don't know. Am I? Am I evil? I don't know. All I want is everyone to have human rights. Is that so bad? Is that so bad? Well, this morning we've missed quite a bit, haven't he? He's yeah, he's live streaming while driving. Yeah, he does. I think he delivers construction materials down in San Diego, and so he live streams himself while driving from point A to point B. He does look at his chat a lot, but you know what? I've driven. I don't interact with my chat when I'm driving, but he does, and that's fine. He'll figure it out the hard way. I don't give a shit what happens to Salty, but I did invite him to watch the show, so hopefully. Talk to my dentist about freedom of speech. Yeah, right? Yeah. Banner. Yeah. Anti-dino dentist. Whatever. Yeah, he's a nut. Anyway, let's see. So this morning we had a couple things. Oh my God. And we have too much actually today. And this is what they're flooding the zone. And they're not spreading these things out, and I'm very upset about it. I know exactly how the schedules go for the House and the Senate, and they are literally cramming shit into like 2 days a week. Like they're not even using all the days to cram all their shit into. It's bad. It's really bad for me. And that's what I care about. Yeah, damn it. But I think what we'll start with is Jamison Greer. I know Lee's probably at work, but our trade representative, Lee, is probably working right now on trade and refunds and all that good stuff. But Jamison Greer is doing a state of the state for the trade representative office. Then we had RFK was in front of Congress this morning. Jesus fucking Christ. And then, you know what? Not to be outdone, Russ Vought decided to show up again. So he's in the front of the Senate too. I think what we're going to do is go with Jamison Greer, and maybe we'll check in on RFK, although I'm not sure anybody in this room can take it, but it might be interesting to see what he's being asked about. So anyways, here we go. Here's Jamison Greer. And I think we'll go ahead. This started, when did it start? Why is it at live? Oh no, is it one of those things where it plays? Oh no, it doesn't. Okay. All right, we're going to start a little bit here, and I don't want to hear him. I don't care. I want to hear her. Who is that? Who is that? Mr. Rogers. Oh, he's not like you think he's Mr. Rogers. What the fuck is Bondi? What about Bondi? I dislike this Greer character. Oh, he's horrible. This Ginger is bad. Wait, where's our Ginger? There it is. Here he comes. Here he comes to save the day. What the fuck is Bondi? What do you mean, Dan? Did something happen with Bondi? I thought she retired. I thought they put her out to pasture. Are you telling me that that's not true? Yeah, I don't like this Greer guy either. All right, so let's go ahead and get started and see where we go with this. Good morning, everybody.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and I join you in welcoming Ambassador Greer for his first appearance before our subcommittee. This opportunity to discuss this administration's trade policies, which have created chaos, uncertainty, and high costs for American families and businesses, is quite timely. I also look forward to hearing from you about your fiscal year 27 budget request. I support trade policies that protect American workers, consumers, and businesses from unfair trade practices, promote access to global markets, strengthen trust and collaboration with our allies, and bolster our national security. When smartly targeted and applied, tariffs can be a useful tool in our tool belt to address unfair trade practices, and Congress has provided the president with limited tariff authorities. But what we have seen from this administration has been an unlawful tariff and trade policy that is chaotic, not transparent, ripe for corruption, damaging to our closest allies, and deeply harmful to the American people and businesses it claims to protect. Tariff rates changed countless times in a single year. Policies were announced on social media and reversed just days later. American businesses were unable to make basic decisions about what to buy because the rules could change overnight. In February, the Supreme Court ruled that the International Emergency Economic Powers Act does not authorize the president to impose tariffs. That left the government owing over $166 billion, with interest growing by the millions per day, to the American businesses that paid those illegal duties. Unfortunately, the damage of the illegal tariff regime has already been felt by American families who have paid more for clothes, groceries, and other items. Businesses have faced higher material costs and retaliatory tariffs on their own exports. The administration did not come to Congress and seek lawful tariff authority. Instead, it reached for the next untested statute. Within hours of the Supreme Court ruling, the president signed a proclamation invoking Section 122 of the Trade Act of 1974 to impose a 10% global tariff. The next day, he announced on social media that the rate would increase to 15%. No formal policy has been issued. These tariffs expire this summer and are already facing legal challenges. At the same time, the administration has indicated it will pursue dozens of new investigations under Section 301 and 232 to impose yet another set of tariffs. The result for Americans has been chaos, uncertainty, and a higher cost of living. According to one independent analysis, 90% of the economic burden of tariffs fell on U.S. companies and consumers in 2025. This has resulted in an effective tax increase of nearly $1,700 on the average American household. This administration told us that the tariffs would boost American industry, but they have not. In 2025, the trade deficit in goods hit a record high, and over 80,000 manufacturing jobs were lost. After getting a boost from historic investments under the Biden administration, spending on U.S. factory construction has fallen every month since the beginning of President Trump's second term in office. In New York, those costs have hit us even harder. According to an analysis by the Manhattan Chamber of Commerce, New York households face an estimated $4,200 in additional annual costs due to tariffs. In the middle of a housing crisis, they have added around $11,000 to the cost of building each new single-family home. And in the second quarter of 2025, as tariffs ramped up, the city saw a net loss of approximately 4,900 businesses, the weakest quarter for business formation in 5 years. The state comptroller reported just weeks ago that exports to Canada, our state's most significant trading partner, declined by $3.8 billion. As the chair of the Congressional Asian Pacific American Caucus, I have been sounding the alarm on this issue since the beginning. There are more than 3 million Asian American, Native Hawaiian, and Pacific Islander owned small businesses across this country, and many of them rely on imports of goods that cannot be produced domestically, yet are still subject to tariffs. I have seen the impacts of these tariffs firsthand in my own district in Queens. Just last month, I led my colleagues in local and state government on a tour of Flushing, Queens, where we heard that costs for small businesses are through the roof. What makes all of this worse is the two-tiered pay-to-play system this administration has created. The wealthy and well-connected are cutting deals for themselves, while Main Street businesses like those in Flushing are left out and pay the price. Tariff exemptions and favorable rate adjustments are granted behind closed doors with no formal criteria, no application process, and no way for the public to weigh in. Meanwhile, small businesses across New York City are absorbing approximately $4.5 billion annually in added tariff costs. They don't have lobbyists in Washington to help them make their case for relief, and they shouldn't be treated as collateral damage while the president uses tariffs as leverage to reward friends and extract favors. The prices of groceries, gas, clothing, and homes are skyrocketing for American families. Small businesses have been forced to raise prices or close their doors. Construction costs are rising at a time when we desperately need much more housing construction. The chaos of an unpredictable, murky tariff regime continues. I look forward to your testimony and to what I hope is a candid discussion. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Ms. Mink. I would like now to recognize our witness, Ambassador Greer, for an opening statement. Without objection, your written statement will be entered into the record. I would ask that you keep your statement hopefully to 5 minutes so we can have additional time for questions. Gentlemen's recognized.
Thank you, Chairman Rogers and Ranking Member Mang, for having me today. I'm glad we can gather for this hearing today. I'm looking forward to our conversation. And before discussing the activities of the Office of the United States Trade Representative in detail and the resources my office needs to continue our good work in 2027, I want to make one overarching point, and that is that President Trump's trade policy is working for the American people. The U.S. goods trade deficit has decreased by 24% between April 2025, when tariffs first went into place, through February 2026, compared to the same.
Where are you getting that number from? Where are you getting that number from? Oh my God, out of the gate, we have a problem. Where are you getting that number? Where are you getting that number? What? Huh? What? What? Okay, I'm sorry. There's nowhere in the numbers where the trade deficit has decreased. There's nowhere. I mean, he can point them out to me because I'm dumb. I'm not the expert. I'm mean. Okay.
Period a year earlier, so 24% decrease. It's gone down by over 30% with China in particular, so we're diversifying away from that, which is a positive.
Okay, wait a minute. Is it that he is claiming that because of the April number being so high when tariffs were first introduced? Wait, I'm so confused. Okay, I'm sorry. I'll just let him talk. Hi, Val. Hi, love. Oh, I love you. I'm so sorry. We're going to get back on a regular schedule. Don't worry about it. It's just a little bit of a blip right now. Think good thoughts. Someone should give us a place to live. Someone should allow us to have a place to live. I'm very depressed right now, but it's okay. We're going to keep moving because I have perseverance tattooed on the back of my neck, and I have it for a reason.
U.S. exports reached $302 billion in January 2026 and nearly $315 billion in February 2026, the highest monthly export figures in U.S. history. So when I hear people say that somehow our exports are affected, it's for the positive. We've never exported so much from the United States as we are now. Food and agricultural exports rose by double digits in 2025. Manufacturing labor productivity registered its highest annual increase in 15 years, and manufacturing workers' wages are up by an average of $1,800. We produced more steel than Japan last year for the first time in a long time.
Jameson, hold on. I want to see. Okay, he's right. I mean, U.S. exports climbed 4.2% or $12.6 billion to a record $314 billion in February 2026, driven by an $11.5 billion increase in good exports with non-monetary gold, $8 billion, and natural gas. Okay, so the rise in exports in U.S. exports that he's talking about is attributed to gold. Wait. Yeah, non-monetary gold. 8 billion. Is that countries taking their gold out of the country? I know, I need a mobile domicile, baby. You're right. I do. But I also need my baby to have a roof. She needs more than a van, unfortunately. It would be too much to have all of us in one van. No matter how much we love them, we love each other. Okay, so basically it was gold and natural gas. That's what the exports were. Literally, that's the increase in the exports. This is so dumb. I know I want to. I just can't. We can't do that. I need to find. Oh, anyway, it doesn't matter.
Time, and orders for capital equipment that go into factories are surging, all because President Trump decided to take trade seriously. And as you know and has been discussed, last April, President Trump
Yeah, I
imposed
know. I
reciprocal
know that France took their gold out. I know that other countries have removed their gold. If that's what it is, that's not an export. That's not an export. Not a flex, Jameson. I know. Someday, Val, my desert sister, someday. Someday we'll be sitting under the stars with our vans parked next to each other. I believe that. I see that in our future.
tariffs in response to the national emergency caused by our large and persistent trade deficit of $1.2 trillion, which had increased by 40% over the previous 4 years. The result is that we had lost and continue to lose the manufacturing capacity that supports our workers, fuels U.S. innovation, and safeguards our economic and national security. And these tariffs have been instrumental in creating a level playing field for American workers and creating incentives to build, grow, and produce more in the United States at a higher wage for our workers. Last week, during a swing through the heart of American manufacturing in Michigan and Ohio, I was encouraged to see the results of a $13 billion investment by the owners of the Dodge and Jeep brands and the return of auto production lines to America from overseas. A $60 million expansion by Whirlpool,
interesting,
creating
Jim
an additional
Nalgren. Thank
150
you.
jobs in Clyde, Ohio.
Yeah,
And
actually,
highly automated facilities producing drones, tooling and dyes, and solar panels.
we don't. And at
Can't account for
1.1 billion of the exports was services. You're right, Max. I mean, here's my deal. And this is why it's so dangerous for chuds to just take what they hear, people say. Is because you do have to look beyond what he's saying, because his job is to spin it a certain way. And that's fine, that's his job. But the problem is that that's actually disinformation about the way things work. And so he's painting a rosy picture when the truth of the matter, and most people can see it, is that those fundamentals aren't there. And he can say, oh, we had record exports. Well, but you had exports, and the record part of them were things that were not within our control and not exporting goods. Okay? If you're calling natural gas and non-monetary gold goods, I don't know what small mom and pop biz creates non-monetary gold. Can you help me understand that? Where's the Main Street business that creates non-monetary gold and exports it? I'll wait. So all I ask is that you ask additional questions. And if you really think that the economy is so great, I really invite you to really look at various sources, because this is a complicated economy and not something that you can just get from a soundbite on Steve Bannon. It's just not.
New York State policies and
Do your
taxes that
work.
drive away business, because all of these other developments are being spurred by President Trump's tariffs. And alongside the tariff program, the president has also secured deals with numerous trading partners to address the unfair practices that contributed to our trade deficit. And these new trade deals cover over half the world's population. We have 9 agreements on reciprocal trade with countries like Malaysia, Cambodia, El Salvador, Guatemala, Argentina, Bangladesh, Taiwan, Indonesia, and Ecuador, and they represent real, meaningful new market access for American exports, the kind that American farmers and manufacturers were promised that the World Trade Organization would achieve, but did not. We've also inked deals with the United Kingdom, the European Union, Japan, Japan, and South Korea, and we're looking forward to finalize even more deals in the weeks and months ahead. And these agreements have achieved long-standing U.S. trade priorities, many that have festered for decades, including the lowering of foreign tariffs on most U.S. exports and elimination of unfair non-tariff barriers. For example, 8 countries have exempted American meat and cheese products from geographical indication rules that prevented the use of common marketing terms. 11 countries have agreed to accept U.S. automotive emission and safety standards. 9 countries have agreed to accept U.S. FDA approvals for new treatment and medicines. We've also received strong commitments from our trading partners to enhance intellectual property protection, provide a level playing field for U.S. companies with respect to their domestic labor and environmental protection standards, and improve coordination on economic security. The President's trade program continues despite the Supreme Court's decision in February. Within hours, the President reimposed tariffs using Section 122, and a few weeks ago, we signed another agreement on reciprocal trade with Ecuador. So the program continues. And as we continue to address our trading partners' unfair practices, we are using our investigatory powers granted to us by Congress to investigate forced labor in other countries and structural excess capacity that lead to global imbalances. In President Trump's first term, this tool, Section 301, was used to great effect to establish a stable and durable approach to trade that has received bipartisan support. As you know, the Section 301 tariffs on China for forced technology are still in effect today. Not only did President Biden keep those tariffs in place, but he even expanded them, showing bipartisan support for this tool. So with all of this new work, USTR needs to have the resources to meet the need. The USTR team is dedicated to helping American blue-collar workers, American farmers, and families in the communities they support. But we can only meet those obligations we have to Americans if we have the resources that we need. Whether it's negotiating new agreements or enforcing agreements, we need to be able to have the personnel to do that. Last year, this committee heard our call for more resources and generously increased USTR's appropriation, and we're spending that money now to hire new negotiators, economists, attorneys, and other subject matter experts. And these help strengthen the agency for the benefit of the American people. And so this year, President Trump has requested that USTR's budget be increased to $95 million, a $7 million total increase over FY 2026. And this will enable us to do the hiring we need to secure a level playing field.
Well, let's talk about the EU deal, all right? Because Jameson just said the EU is moving ahead. All right, let me just read you what the BBC said about that. This is the EU Parliament. A majority of lawmakers voted in favor of the measures on Thursday, but added a series of safeguards to ensure the U.S. honors its side of the deal struck last July. The legislation would set tariffs at 15% for most EU goods, down from the 30% initially threatened, in exchange for European investment in the U.S. and the removal of EU import duties on U.S. industrial goods. The vote comes after months of delay following Trump's threats to annex Greenland and a U.S. Supreme Court ruling that found some of his tariffs unlawful. The EU Assembly voted by 417 to 154 and 71 abstentions in favor of the legislation. The text will need to be signed off by all of the bloc's 27 member states before it's implemented, with a concluding vote expected in April or May. And this was in March of this year that I'm reading from. I'll connect this article into it. But I also want to say what they did was lawmakers moved to strengthen its safeguards, including a provision that's to suspend the agreement if the U.S. imposes additional tariffs above 15% or introduces new duties on EU goods. Another would halt the deal if the U.S. threatened the EU's territorial sovereignty. MEPs also included a sunrise clause that means EU tariff reductions will only take effect. Hi, TV2. Hi, Oomph. Hi, Bob. How you doing? MEPs also included a sunrise clause that means EU tariff reductions will only take effect if the U.S. upholds its side of the lowering. Okay, including lowering tariffs to 15% on EU products that contain less than 50% steel and aluminum. When the framework was announced last summer, Trump said the 50% still applied to the EU. So that is not a done deal. Sorry, Jameson. Sorry, Lucky Charms. But you don't have all your deal. Oh no, India and China, the Australia and the EU struck a huge trade deal. I mean, there are trade deals going on all over the world that don't include us. Yeah, it's bad. I mean, we're stupid. This is dumb. This guy is about as dumb as they come.
Field, secure new market access for American farmers and workers, reindustrialize our country, and fully achieve all the wins we've gained through our agreements on reciprocal trade. And I think our shared interest in doing what's best for America should allow us to continue to meaningfully collaborate as we work together, and I approach this hearing in that spirit. Thank you for your consideration of the President's budget request, and I look forward to your questions.
Thank you, Ambassador Greer. We will now proceed under the 5-minute rule for questions. I'll begin by.
I am not
recognizing
going to stay with this
yourself.
guy. I can't even listen to him. I don't care if he reams him a new asshole. I can't
President
listen to that
Trump
guy.
has made trade
Jesus
one of his
Christ.
our country.
Shut up, you old man.
Well, happy
Fucking
to have and use leverage with authorities. If Congress wants to give us additional authorities on tariffs to combat fentanyl, we're happy
No.
to take that and use it.
No.
It's been opposed by others in
No.
Congress, but we will continue to raise it with the Chinese to fight this battle.
Will that be on the agenda when the president goes to China?
It will be, yes, sir.
Thank you. Ms. Ming.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Ambassador, this administration initially said that there would be no exceptions to these tariffs, but has since issued a long list of exceptions across multiple executive orders and annexes with no formal public process. Even without a formal exclusion process through which companies can request tariff exclusions for certain products, it looks like the administration has effectively granted tariff exclusions for certain products, companies, and categories.
Hey, Bob,
I
that
was
is
wondering
fucking
if there was
capitalism,
ever
baby.
a formal
Let's do it.
notice or
You find the
public
best
comment
deal.
period for any of these exclusion decisions.
So, Ranking Member, thank you. So, at the beginning of this term, when the president sought to impose tariffs, he made a decision that he did not want to have broad exclusion and exemption programs. He felt it undermined the program to some degree. And so to the extent that the president has adjusted product coverage from time to time, it's been in response to analyses done by economists within the administration. One example is last November, after
Oh
concluding
my
negotiations
God.
with
You know what the analysis is? What side of his butthole he pulls it out of. Okay, that's the level of analysis we're talking about. Give me a fucking break. Jameson, you can lie your way to Chudville, but you cannot lie to us. You cannot. Fucking hell. Man, y'all should just demand better from your civil servants, I say. Or your
countries, the president
appointees.
decided that he should remove
Jesus
tariffs from certain
Christ.
goods that either cannot be naturally grown here, things like bananas or coffee, or things that can't naturally be extracted here. He also made a decision that certain items that could be
Then why is coffee almost double what it was before this idiot took office? Why is coffee? Because I buy coffee very regularly, and my literal coffee has almost doubled. Almost doubled. So what is going on, Jameson? What in the world is going on? Why why is everything more expensive, Jameson? Yeah, the coffee is ridiculous. And it's never been tariffed. Literally, it has never been tariffed. Ever. Ever.
might be covered by a
Jesus
later
criminy.
Section 232 investigation, which is a different tariff authority controlled by the Commerce Department, that those should be separate issues, and so they shouldn't necessarily be part of the reciprocal tariff.
Even the corrupt, bought and sold SCOTUS could not approve of dumps tariffs. They tried. Believe me, there was pretzel twisting beyond pretzels. But they could not make those things legal. Pay attention. The courts are actually a very important part of understanding what is legal and what is not. Oh, that's nice, Val. I'm so glad. Everyone should go visit Live TV2 because he's great. TV2 Live, I mean. Sorry, I'm like dumb. Yeah, hi, Valletta's too cozy. All the money I saved not drinking has gone to coffee. There you go. There you go. I mean, this is serious stuff, and I just can't. Like, please stop telling us that everything is so great when we know for real that it's not. Now, he may have a great life, and he may not know what the price of coffee is because he gets it brought to him or he's charging it to us, the taxpayers. But I know. So stop lying
program.
son of a bitch.
So to the extent that the coverage was adjusted, it was for kind of broad-based principles like that, things we literally can't grow or extract from the ground, or things that are going to be covered by other tariff programs.
Thank you for that. Do you think that there should have, and I hear that, do you think that there should have been a more public or formal process for stakeholders, people in the industry, businesses and industries that would directly be impacted?
So we have had, hundreds, if not thousands, of meetings with stakeholders who have an interest, and certainly I take your point. A big company with lobbyists, they have more resources to come in and talk about it. We also talk to trade associations who represent a broader group, and we do talk to small businesses, and often we talk to congressional offices where small businesses feel like they have a larger voice. With the Section 301 investigations we're doing, these do in fact have, by law, a public process. And so we just closed yesterday our comment process that was very public. Federal Register notice went out. Everyone had weeks. And so now everyone in my office is going to start going through these. There will be further Federal
What?
Register notices out there where folks.
Do you guys see those federal notices to comment on shit? I don't. Do you get on a mailing list somewhere? I didn't see that. I would have commented. What? I don't get
can
it.
comment. So I agree. I think it's a great
Federal
policy to have.
Register.
No, I appreciate your comments about the 301 process. I was asking more specifically about the IEPA and now Section 122. And if you have information or records on data and some of the trends of the conversations that the administration has had with stakeholders, it would be really helpful. I think a lot of us, and I can speak for both sides of the aisle, I think are concerned about a lot of our small businesses, small manufacturers that are seeing their costs spike and deciding, do they eat the cost or do they put it onto the customers, our consumers, our constituents, because of these global tariffs under the IEPA part and now Section 122. But I just want to make the case to the government that a product,
Good
if
morning.
someone wants to make a case
No, it's a
to
tough
the
one.
government that a product that is critical to their business should be
I'm gonna have to
excluded,
spend
what
some time
process
there.
would a small business or manufacturer in our district undergo?
So, so right now, with respect to Section 122, that legal authority has a fairly narrow authority with respect to exceptions. It gives the president a lot of discretion within that, which is fortunate. But the idea is it's for a global tariff. We've imposed a global tariff there. With Section 301, which my office runs, and Section 232, which the Commerce Department runs, both of those processes have Federal Register notices opportunities. And I've been encouraging people who have a view on product coverage for tariffs to comment, to put in their comments. There's both a public comment process. If they're concerned about confidentiality, there's a way to bracket and provide confidential information as well. So we're trying to make it as simple as possible for anyone in the country who wants to comment. They can do so. They can do it confidentially. They can do it publicly. They can do it through a lobbyist or just themselves and send a letter.
Yeah, and again, I'm just looking out for our small businesses and our manufacturers who, for almost a whole year, were paying these IEPA tariffs with no way to seek relief. They don't have fancy lobbyists in Washington advocating for their concerns and the high costs that either them or our constituents and American families were impacted by. And look, I just, has the administration considered simply sending Congress a proposal requesting tariff authority that it wants through a normal legislative process?
So far, Ranking Member, the President has used tariff authorities provided by Congress. So those are in place. I know that there have been many bills proposed by different members of the House, included that would actually impose a global tariff and higher tariffs on countries that pose a bigger problem. We would be supportive of many of those. So there are proposals out there. We're happy to talk to anybody and everybody about them. I know Congresswoman Van Dyne has something. Representative Golden from the Democratic side had something. These are things where I think we would be supportive. We're happy to discuss them.
Sorry, I'll yield back.
Yeah,
Mr.
Lee,
Strong.
good morning. I was hoping you'd have a minute to stick your nose in here. Crazy.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Chairman Rogers, Ranking Member Ming, for holding this important hearing.
Wait, who are you?
Ambassador Greer, it's great to be with you again.
Wait, who are
And
you?
I thank you for being here
I don't think
today
I
and
wanna
for
hear
your
from
work
you.
in advancing a trade agenda that
Oh
puts
yeah, I
American
don't know
workers
what your deal is. You
and
look like
businesses
this
first.
guy looks like a Rob Blagojevich. Do you remember Rob Blagojevich or Blagojevich? I can't remember how to say his name. Do you remember him from Chicago where he was like a really bad guy? Yeah, I think he's this is what he looks like, and I don't like him, so we're gonna change because he's a stupid Republican who's just gonna suck balls, and I don't have any time for ball sucking. Sorry. Any NPRM will specify. And I just put in a link that is from regulations.gov, and it's one place. And then I will let me link that other federal register because that actually was really helpful too. And thank you, for sharing those. Hold on, let me just get that copied. We should have these. This will be a good little project for us. Oh, what the fuck did I just do? What I just do, baby, baby. What I just do. All right, that's another that I found from Oomp's recommendation. So we should probably develop a rudimentary understanding of how regulations are made. Yeah, there's a little bit we need to do. Yeah, no, I understand that. I understand. Oomph, which topic are you suggesting comments? I'm in that document every day. Oh my gosh, Lee. Not as complex as congressional procedure. Understood. Yeah, I just think that Oomph was just pointing us in the direction of where these comment opportunities would arise, Lee. So I don't know if it was a specific topic, but that's what I was trying to share. And it sounds like we could do a little more prep. We can do some prep for this. But it would be interesting, Lee, to work on whatever would support your advocacy. Apparently, you can do it anonymously too, which is great. Anyway, all right, Rob Blagojevich Jr., we don't have any time for your bullshit and your stupid glasses. Get some glasses that work, okay?
Good
All
day,
right,
Mr. Lolo.
thanks.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman.
I
and
love
the ranking member.
Deloro.
This is, I think, the fourth hearing this morning, so it's kind of, I appreciate the opportunity to be here. And I want to say welcome to you, Ambassador Greer. It's great to see you again. And I thank you for being here and engaging with us. On the campaign trail in office, President Trump made a lot of promises about trade policy, about putting more money in our pockets, create millions and millions of new manufacturing jobs. It was the most pro-American manufacturing and jobs policy, jobs in factories. This is all quotes. Jobs in factories will come roaring back into our country.
Jameson
There's
Greer,
a reality
the
here,
Lucky Charms boy.
which is different. The tariffs have exacerbated the cost of living crisis. American families paid more than $1,700 each in tariff costs last year. Things are only getting worse as the war of choice with Iran continues to drive up the cost of gas, groceries, everyday goods. Question of manufacturing and jobs. U.S. trade deficit in manufactured goods was $62 billion higher in 2025 compared to 2024. Not exactly the manufacturing renaissance that was promised. So, Ambassador Greer, how many manufacturing jobs do you know that the United States lost per day during the president's first year in office?
So the last 2 years of the Biden administration, 230,000 manufacturing jobs were lost. In the first quarter of this year, we have net positive on manufacturing jobs. After 40 years of offshoring, it takes more than 1 year to get them all back.
Well, but let me just tell you what the Bureau of Labor Statistics has said, okay? I read it. U.S. manufacturing lost more than 100 jobs per day from February 2025 to February 2026. That's more than 88,000 in total. Not a trade policy that delivers for working people. So let me, if I can, move on. And another reason for the decline in manufacturing is that incentives, you spoke about offshoring, the incentives for offshoring in our trade deals continue to operate. The USMCA, which we both worked on together, the president he touted this as this was incredible was the most important, quote, most important trade deal that we've made so far. Since USMCA entered into force, offshoring has continued. Agricultural equipment, automobiles, dishwashers, tires, companies across the country are moving, threatening to move production to Mexico to take advantage of USMCA's rules and Mexico's relatively lower wages and labor.
All right. I went to the FRED website, which is the Federal Reserve website. This one is St. Louis. And they published let's see, this is let me get this. This is manufacturing jobs, 1 year. Okay. This is 1 year. All employees manufacturing. December 2025. Going back up. Yeah, he's right. 5 years was going up during Biden, Trump. Trump from this line on. So I'm sorry. Biden. Trump. I don't make the numbers, kids. I don't make the numbers. I just show them to you on the screen. Yeah, what happened to the Fart Act?
Productions. Mexican manufacturing.
I got to tell you what Lee says. Lee is our trade representative. She actually works in this industry. Do not blame USMCA for offshoring those choices. Those are choices made by private companies to maximize profits, which come back to the U.S. That's right. Hi, Sharon. Sharon B., did you sneak in here? Oh, Sharon Brown, I didn't see you. Good morning, darling. Anyways, that's hilarious. Good one, Jim.
Wages remain roughly 40% lower than their Chinese counterparts, 88% lower than those in the United States. I believe you and I agree on USMCA that it's not just a review, that there needs to be a renegotiation. You've indicated that while not every issue with USMCA will be resolved by July 1, ongoing discussions with Mexico and the discussions with Canada will focus on priority issues. So what issues are you prioritizing for discussion with those countries? What are the top items for discussion, with sticking points? And what about closing the loopholes that incentivize offshoring or allow China to take advantage of the deal's benefits? It must be at the top of your list, but let's talk about your priorities.
It is, and I agree with you, Representative Delora. I think you and I are aligned on so many of these issues, and the president is, right? The president is very focused on outcomes, and when we did USMCA, which we did together, we were excited about a lot of things. We've done the rapid response mechanism, which we have continued to use.
It was a floor and not a ceiling, and rapid response was critical.
That's right, and we've continued to use it, but we look at outcomes, and the outcomes, indeed, there's continued offshoring toward Mexico. I'm going to Mexico next week. I'm going to speak with my counterpart, and I have already told him, and we've already had conversations about changing the rules of origin, which is kind of a granular topic, but this is how we avoid the transshipment through Mexico, and it's how we make it tougher. And I will say, it's also important for us to have a tariff level that incentivizes compliance with those tougher rules. Because if our outside tariff level is low, people will just say, well, I don't care about the rules, I'll just bring something in from Vietnam. That's why I'm trying to have higher tariffs on the rest of the world so that I can actually incentivize manufacturing in the U.S.
Well, look, I just say overall, and
that's what it was?
You won't agree. I believe that the president's trade policy is worse than the cost of living crisis.
Go get drunk in Tijuana, Jameson. That's right.
We've not fulfilled the promises on jobs and manufacturing that he promised in the first days in office.
Badgers.
There's an opportunity, to turn that around.
Here's another good point Lee brings up. This was Trump's signature agreement in his first administration. Industry uses this point in their the communications with the White House and agencies. Rules of origin for automotive are already very strict. Yeah, how much does coffee manufactured in the U.S. cost?
Including, again, through the USMCA renegotiation. I'm looking forward to staying in touch on that process and looking at what are the kinds of incentives that proposals that we can make in order to look at how we can renegotiate this and make it work and have it be a worker-centric trade agreement, which is where our trade agreements should be. I thank you, and I thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank the gentlelady. We have a series of votes on the floor, which will require us to
Okay, they're taking a break. A tattoo, as it were. I think that's funny. Let's see. Who I guess oh dear. Okay, I think we're gonna watch a little bit. Well, actually, I'd like to read some stuff. I'd like to read some stuff, and then we'll keep an eye on that. But I do have a few things that I think it would be nice to read. And then go from there, and then go from there. We'll just wait for them to come back. But yeah, let me go ahead and read some shit to you. Read to me. Read to me. Read to me. Lubric. Yeah, everyone's got to poop. No regrets. No regrets. 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 I want that tattoo just to be funny, but no, I don't. I'm just kidding. Okay, let's read some stories. We're going to read some stories today. Woo woo. We're going to read some stories today. Yeah. All right, this is from the WAPO, which I've just given up my WAPO subscription. Will not be able to access WAPO after April 30th, but that's okay because we've got too many other things anyway. Okay, Trump administration pushes nations to sign trade over aid declaration. I think, Lee, did you share this? I think you shared. I think that's who shared it. Secretary of State Marco Rubio called it an opportunity to use the UN system to promote America First values, according to a cable reviewed by the Post. Jesus, this guy wants to be a supervillain. He literally wants to be the supervillain. I never thought it would be possible because I thought he was just kind of milquetoast. But man, he's working hard. He's earning his spot at Nuremberg 2.0. Damn it. Blood on my hands. I got blood on my hands. The Trump administration is pushing countries around the world to sign a joint declaration that calls for trade over aid and explicitly rejects America's history as leading provider of humanitarian assistance and other support to the developing world. Ha! That's for suckers! In a cable sent Wednesday to all U.S. embassies and consular posts, Secretary of State Marco Rubio ordered American diplomats to issue a démarche. What is that? A démarque? A démarque? A démarche? Uh-oh, I don't know how to say that. I think it was Teresa. Oh, was it Teresa Lee? Okay. I know, good story. Wasn't he the Easter Bunny? He might have been, actually. That's a good one, Josh. Démarche. Thank you, Neil. Démarche. An official call to action to foreign nations no later than Monday that asks for their backing before the U.S. initiative is introduced at the United Nations at the end of April. This is dumb. The trade over aid push is an opportunity, Rubio's directive says, to use the UN system to promote America First values and create business opportunities for U.S. companies. That's what it's all about. The Washington Post reviewed a copy of his cable, which has not previously been reported, but it's only certain U.S. companies, okay? So don't get too excited. It's only certain U.S. companies. And also, do we love the delicious downfall of Sam Altman? I'm here for it. The move comes as the Trump administration has sought to dramatically remake the global aid system, dismantling USAID and pulling back funding from multilateral efforts at the United Nations. We are not the good guys anymore. You can't claim that. You can't claim that we're the biggest providers of aid. You can't claim any of that anymore, folks. Okay? Because they blew it up. So when they blow it up, they get all the shit that comes with it. And that means the moniker of murderer. and pulling back funding from multilateral efforts at the UN, arguing that such initiatives have led to waste, fraud, and dependency, which is funny because they've never shown any data to that point. None. Zero data. Other major donors of foreign assistance, including France, Germany, and Britain, have followed the Dump administration's lead and scaled back their efforts, leading to what some have called a great aid recession. Studies have suggested that such a sweeping rollback of funding could result in 9.4 million deaths by 2030. While there have long been many criticisms of the global aid system and the dependency it can breed, skeptics have argued that the Dump administration's approach will allow for-profit companies to exploit poorer nations. That's right, kids. It's solidifying our stance on dropping aid completely and letting companies enrich themselves on newer markets, said one State Department official speaking on condition of anonymity. A spokesperson for the State Department didn't respond. Some aspects of the trade over aid declaration were first reported by DevEx, which published a report Tuesday disclosing that the U.S. proposal was being circulated at the UN. The push to encourage countries to sign on could be an indicator that other nations are skeptical of the Dump administration's efforts. No. Sam Vigurski, an international affairs fellow at the Council on Foreign Relations, said the initiative may be received poorly at the UN, particularly as the Dump administration advances other efforts such as the Board of Peace, an international body set up by the United States with Dump as its chairman, interpreted in some foreign capitals as undermining the global body. Having been on the driving end of many démarches over my time, I would not see this as being well received because it comes across as undermining the UN, said Vigurski, who previously served as senior humanitarian advisor to the U.S. mission to the United Nations. Ha! We got rid of that. The Dump administration also has faced pushback as it seeks to negotiate with countries that receive U.S. global health funding. Its America First approach in this space has led to accusations that the State Department is conditioning crucial funding for HIV prevention and treatment on foreign governments' acceptance of commercial side deals related to critical minerals and other natural resources. The State Department has rejected these claims, but that's part of the Mar-a-Lago Accord. Okay? It's all part of the Mar-a-Lago Accord. Rubio's cable offers talking points for U.S. diplomats to help them make the administration's case to their counterparts, beginning with the statement that, quote, under President Dump, America has entered a new golden age built on a booming economy fueled by pro-business policies. Oh my God, sweet Jesus, I wish I wasn't always right. Wow, they just say it now. Under President Dump, America's entered a new golden age built on a booming economy fueled by pro-business policies. That's right. Fuck the little guy. Deregulation, lower taxes, and a liberated energy industry. That is literally what the point of this goddamn regime is. That's his payoff for staying out of prison. Yeah. Hi, gal. Oh my gosh. Plural pronounced more or less the same as singular. Okay, thank you. Demarche. That makes sense. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to make that. I guess I took the joke. I got to attend a declassified briefing on Africa yesterday, and from what I gathered from that info in this article is that the U.S. are colonizers masquerading as allies and partners. Abso-frickin-lutely. Oh, I would love to read your notes from that. Abso-frickin-lutely. This is all kinds of bullshit. It also includes the full text of the declaration, or the text of the full declaration. While much of it is a relatively uncontroversial promotion of free market values, it also takes aim at the current global aid system, which it asserts has often created dependency, inefficiency, and corruption. It was private business that developed all the world's successful economies, not government aid, the declaration continues. Yeah, pussies. The cable says that the U.S. mission to the UN will host a signing event for the declaration before the end of April. Ambassador Mike Waltz offered a preview of the efforts during an appearance before the Senate Foreign Relations Committee on Tuesday. On the development side, we are heavily engaging the private sector. Wow, those two things don't seem to mix too well. Waltz, the U.S. representative to the UN, told lawmakers, let's lower barriers to capital, drive foreign investment, and create jobs, not dependency. And we're calling that trade over aid. Let me tell you a little bit about what I think this is. It is colonialism and it is imperialism, and it's just extortion. It's extortion to say, wow, it's a nice country you have there. It would be a shame if something happened or if you weren't able to get any medicines in here. So you should probably share your critical minerals with us. And we don't really care if you have a slave supply chain for that. That's fine. Don't worry about that. We'll deal with that when somebody complains about it. And maybe even then we won't. So that's what's happening. It is selling the countries of what some refer to as the global south. It is selling those countries to the highest bidder and raping their natural resources. And what aid did, and aid, you know how I feel about aid. Sometimes it can be really great and sometimes it's just dumb. And but when it's really great, it actually changes systems within countries, and it changes attitudes of people, and it increases freedom and agency that people then use to create a more benevolent society, right? So that's what aid does, and it's not a fast process. It's not, and that's really true. But it is very important. And there is much more than just money being thrown into a country. What you're talking about is actual people on the ground and funding that goes to local programs who then can be overseen by U.S. State Department program officials who really understand what the work is and what is being done in each of those programs, right? Their specialties may be in community development or human rights abuses or something like that, right? Depending on the country. I know how those grants work. I've seen them literally in operation. So you cannot tell me that this is a better solution than actually giving aid to countries through the grant process and through that monitoring process. You can't tell me that's true. And I've actually seen it working. I worked with an anti-slavery organization that worked in 6 countries, and there was definitive quantitative changes as well as qualitative changes within the countries that we were working, within the communities, within the villages that we were working in. That is how you build change. And it's not done perfectly. I'm going to tell you right now, USAID is not perfect. No, the UN is not perfect by a long shot. There's plenty of, probably a lot of waste. But at the same time, those can be evaluated. Fraud, waste, and abuse can be evaluated. It happens all the time. So that, and then also the fact that the reason countries need aid, right, is because they've already been taken advantage of by other people, by other countries, right? Africa as a continent has been host to countless colonizers who took the resources of the country, oppressed the people, and created discord. So that is what we're returning. Well, in fact, we never left it. I'm not saying we ever left that colonialism, but what it's doing is amping it up and making that the de facto way the world deals with the developing world. You know, I'm going to go back to the conversation I had with a friend of mine who is the country director for our program in Haiti. And when I went to visit Haiti, we were having dinner one night, he and I. We were talking about what the history of Haiti was, right? And he was telling me about the rice industry and how the United States basically undermined rice as a major export for Haiti. And, you know, that is what kind of turned the tides on the country being able to kind of get a lot of traction around prosperity or, you know, self-governance, all that kind of stuff. Because poverty creates vacuums where bad people see opportunity, right? And so that is what you're trying to avoid with something like aid, where you're filling the gap, and you're either doing things that are life-saving as well as building systems, because you don't just do one without the other. Organizations do that. They literally they literally do both the triage and addressing the humanitarian need in the moment, as well as working systemically within that country to change outcomes for whatever it is they're working on. And there are programs, not a lot, but there are programs that deal with attitudes towards LGBTQ, et cetera, within communities, because that's very dangerous. And one of the issues that's being tackled is lowering the danger for people in a society so that they can exist. And that's what those programs are. It's not just some funky little arts program. No. Art is the mechanism by which you change attitudes. It can be a very effective. There was a group that we worked with in the Congo. And what they did, this was brilliant. It was, they would take a documentary, like a short film that was made about the mining slavery in the Congo, okay? They created a video about, and the opportunity of that you don't have to be, and how do you move out of being either trafficked into slavery or move out of slavery. And a lot of it was preventive to get people to not turn towards indentured servitude and slavery. And this group, and we funded and worked alongside them, this group would take this film mobile to different villages within the Congo where there was a high level of either slavery trafficking or slavery itself because of the mining. And these folks would show this in the middle of the village. They threw up a sheet and they showed the movie, and it was just like a big village gathering. And that shit changes people's lives. Because imagine being in an isolated area and thinking that your only option is to work for the artisanal miner who is promising you food and shelter. But that comes with a catch, right? Because if you take his food and his shelter, you then create a debt to him. And your enslavement is that you have to repay that debt. And a lot of this is done with children and families who are enslaved, working in mines today, right now. So I guess what I'm saying is this is the dumbest thing I've ever heard of, because it is only going to create many more vacuums for people like Charles Taylor, who I actually still have on my phone, Charles Taylor's former driver, who was a child soldier when Charles Taylor was wreaking havoc in Liberia. And this guy and I talked for hours about what his experience was being a child soldier and then now being a young man and being like, I don't know, I still love Charles Taylor. You see what I'm like? I just, there's so many things where we can change attitudes and we can help countries come out of, I don't know. And it's not that we're going to help them. I'm not trying to say that, because I think that actually white people in international development can be really problematic. And I totally acknowledge that. Where I see it work really well is just when skills are shared, right? When resources are provided and skills are shared. And that is when I see the best work happen out in the field. So, and when you empower local people to develop the solution with you, and you're empowering them with funding, with support, with reporting, that can be magic. That can be fucking magic. Anyway, I'm sorry. That was a very long speech that I didn't probably need to make, but anyways, hold on. I got to do this. The bad noise. Project Vault. What's Project Vault? Let's see. And let's see. Gal's got some. Russia and China to insert themselves in Africa. The fact that USAID and Voice of America are now demolished, the U.S. will lose all ability to exercise soft power at critical regions. I agree. I mean, it's really what it comes down to. Many stories of U.S. service members fighting for America came here to serve based off their experience in places like Niger and Uganda, where the only meal they received was USAID on their said USAID on the side. Yeah, it really is heartbreaking. The briefer yesterday was born and raised in Niger. He provided the most incredible perspective of Africans. I learned so much. That's awesome. The countries within Africa were drawn by colonizers, named by colonizers, and never with the respect or attention to the culture and traditions in the areas that they lined off and split up. Yep. They are back to trying to take over Africa's mind. Oh, yeah. Eric Prince. Hey, meowing. Was listening on a morning walk through some incredible fog. Oh, I love that. I love it. Crazy storms. Oh, my gosh. It was a good speech. Thanks, Jane Jane. Did you catch Scott Bessent talking about the Strait of Vermouth? No, I love that. The Vermouth Strait. That's amazing. The Vermouth Strait. I love that. There. Let me see what I got here. I got all kinds of things. I want to read this. I know it's a stupid story, but I don't care. I kind of want to read it. Oh my God, Blake Shelton, what's wrong with you? Oh God. No, I stopped seeing this ad. I've seen it multiple times. I don't even know what that means. Okay. Live golf. At least a cocktail onion. Yeah, right. Must have been something ginned up. Good one, Neil. LIV Live Golf executives called to emergency summit in New York hours after bombshell announcement claim. What was the bombshell announcement? I kind of missed it. Live Golf League executives have reportedly been called to an emergency meeting in New York following a claim that PIF. Oh, what is it? The PIF. What is PIF? What is that? It's which Saudi? Isn't that a fund, like a Saudi fund? God damn it! Who the fuck? Okay, whatever. With reports stating that the PIF is on the verge of cutting Liv's golf funding. Telegraph Sport has reported that Live bosses were called to an emergency summit in Manhattan on Wednesday, although it did state the exact reason for the gathering was unclear. Elsewhere in the Telegraph story, it wrote not a single executive was at the Club de Golf Chapultepec one day before Live Golf Mexico City is due to begin, and that the tournament's media center was closed on Tuesday. What? What happened? However, that was allegedly down to a power board not working. At Liv's press conferences on Tuesday were also canceled. That was deemed to be because of technical issues. They were rescheduled for Wednesday. Telegraph's report went on to state that players remain in the dark over the current state of play, and the 57 pros involved are planning on teeing it up at the Club de Golf Chapultepec for the first 4 rounds on Thursday. That's right. Here we go. Pairings were just released. Players, though, are still awaiting their fate. They'll likely know more. Wait, let's see. Tea times. Okay, fireballs. Address the rumors. Okay, translate from his native Spanish. Garcia said, no, frankly, we haven't heard anything other than what Yasser Al-Rumayyan, the PIF chairman, already told us at the beginning of the year, that he's behind us, that they have a project of many years. And frankly, there are always many rumors. I can't comment on anything more than what we know. So there. Speculation over the Live Golf League began in earnest on Tuesday night after one report on social media stated, I want to know why they made the bombshell announcement. Can I please, is the PIF announcement anywhere? Saudi PIF on the verge of cutting. Why are they cutting their funding? Oh, the Financial Times. Oh, I don't think I have an FT. Do I have an FT? Bombshell announcement. Why? Sovereign Wealth Fund reconsiders backing for loss-making golf tour as Iran more. I'm sorry. Thank you. The PIF is a Saudi public investment fund. Yeah. Thank you. The Sovereign Wealth Fund is on the verge of cutting its support for Live Golf in a move that would jeopardize the future of the multi-billion-dollar project that sparked a civil war across the sport. Good. I'm glad. I don't need to know anymore. As long as they're going to die, nobody gives a shit. Okay, let's see. What do I want to... Oh, yeah, I wanted to read this ProPublica piece. The big ugly bill, yeah, the big... Oh, yeah, the lines from the movie Pulp Fiction. Wait, what was that? What did he say? It's almost as bad as Whiskey Pete thinking reading Bible purpose. Yeah, wait, seriously, what did he say that was a Pulp Fiction? This is great, because I've got to make a thing now. Hold on. I'm going to make a thing. Well, I mean, I won't do it right now, but I'll do it later. But it would be fun to make a meme about that. You have to see it. Okay, wait a minute. All right, I can find it. Hold on. I was watching it this morning, but I didn't catch the Bible verses. But I was only half listening. Okay, wait. Where is it? Pulp Fiction. It comes up first. Oh my God. Oh wait, this is the Pentagon worship service? Oh my God. Okay, wait. Okay, wait. Hold on. Okay, hold on. Here we go.
They call it CSAR 25:17, which I think is meant to reflect Ezekiel 25:17. So the prayer is CSAR 25:17, and it reads, and pray with me, please. The path of the downed aviator is beset on all sides by the iniquities of the selfish and the tyranny of evil men. Blessed is he who, in the name of camaraderie and duty, shepherd the lost through the valley of darkness, for he is truly his brother's keeper and the finder of lost children. And I will strike down upon thee with great vengeance and furious anger those who attempt to capture and destroy my brother. And you will know my call sign is Sandy 1 when I lay my vengeance upon thee. And amen. They call it CSAR 25:17.
So he knew it was from Pulp Fiction, right? Isn't that... Thanks, Jim. Isn't that, Neil? Which part? The one where Christopher Walken talks about having a pocket watch stuck up his Uranus for 5 years. But I mean, I get it. It's kind of ridiculous. Oh, he thought it was from the Bible? Wait. He thought it was real? They call it Caesar.
Which I think is meant to reflect Ezekiel 20.
So is he... Wait, I'm very confused. I feel like he knew this was a joke. I mean, he's an idiot. Uh-oh, we're doing... he didn't know. Okay, he didn't know. Okay. Wow, that's interesting. Well, then people were just laughing at him. Oops. Oopsie. Interesting. Where did you get that hamburger? It's a really tasty burger. I haven't seen that movie. I don't think I've ever seen that movie. Is that bad? Yeah, I think so. This friend sent it to him. Oh, you don't think he did? Okay. That's interesting. What an idiot. He's such an idiot. Pulp Fiction is all he's seen. Doubt he ever read. Oh, yeah, no. There's no reading. Reading is stupid. Reading is for losers. Okay. All right. Okay, let's read about this ProPublica's article about the big ugly bill. I'm going to keep reminding us how terrible this bill is and what it's doing to people actually on the ground today. This is from April 8th. The alarm bell. Arizona's drop in SNAP participation signals potential nationwide impact of dump legislation. Dumps one big ugly bill. Wait, is there a scenario where his knowledge or lack thereof would make it okay? No. I don't give a shit. I just think I don't know what the joke is. Is the joke that he didn't know it was from Pulp Fiction? And it sounds like that's what the joke was. No, I don't think anybody says what he's saying. I mean, vengeance is mine, saith the Lord of the Rings. But yeah, and then maybe Hegseth can wander on and try and find himself. He should. Well, actually, he shouldn't because it'll be too much of a shock for his system. Okay, here we go. Trump's One Big Ugly Bill Act imposes stricter food stamp work requirements and shifts a larger share of the cost to states. Arizona's swift implementation has made it more difficult to apply and caused nearly half of recipients to lose benefits. All fat is the Lord's. Amen. A frickin' man. Okay, and there we go. More than 400,000 Arizonans have lost their SNAP benefits since July, the largest decline in the nation by a wide margin, as an underfunded state agency administered changes called for in President Dump's so-called One Big Ugly Bill. The drop represents nearly 47% of the state's participants in the program. Almost half. In the program, better known as food stamps, and includes about 180,000 children, according to the Arizona Department of Economic Security, which administers the program. On Wednesday, the Nonpartisan Center on Budget and Policy Priorities released data through February showing that the reduction in Arizona has far outstripped other states. After Arizona, the largest loss of participants was in Florida, where less than 16% of recipients lost benefits since July, according to the center's analysis. Arizona officials attribute the plunging caseload to swift implementation of policy changes forced by the bill, including new work requirements. But interviews suggest that Arizona's efforts to comply, combined with cuts to the agency that runs the SNAP program, have contributed to the decline, making it more difficult to apply and causing people who are eligible to be denied. The state's drop has exceeded previous projections. Arizona is just the alarm bell, said Joseph Palomino, executive director of the Arizona Center for Economic Progress, a nonpartisan advocacy organization. This is likely going to happen in every state. The bill, which places a larger share of the program's cost onto states, expanded work requirements for some recipients, and eliminated work exemptions for others, such as people who are homeless or aging out of foster care. In addition, the bill mandates that states reduce their payment error rates, which measure the accuracy of eligibility and payment determinations, or face millions in penalties. Although some changes don't fully take effect until the fall, experts say Arizona's experience suggests people are already going hungry as a result of the legislation's changes. Charisma Garcia, a 25-year-old mother of two, has tried for months to obtain an interview to complete a SNAP application. After weeks calling the agency only to get a recorded message, she woke before sunrise recently to wait in line at an Arizona Department of Economic Security office in South Phoenix. A security guard told her the agency wasn't doing in-person interviews, so she headed to a food bank instead. She needed to feed her children, ages 3 and 6. "I need to do the thing that gets me the food," she said. Brett Bezio, a spokesperson for DES, said the agency is focusing on reducing the state's error rate to ensure the program remains a stable resource for vulnerable Arizonans. Although Arizona's rate of 8.8% is below the national average, the new federal regulations require that it be brought down to 6%. If officials don't reduce the rate, Arizona
Order.
could face penalties of
We will proceed with
195
questions from
0.4 million. Are they back? 0.4 million in 2 years, which is more than double the amount it pays to operate the program. The department said it expects participation to stabilize in the months ahead. The choices Arizona is making are a reality that every state is facing, said Katie Berg, a senior policy analyst with the Center on Budget and Policy Priorities. Congress created a terrible incentive by requiring states to reduce their error rate and shoulder more of the program's costs, she said. Nationwide, SNAP enrollment plummeted 8% from December 2024 to December 2025, according to estimates from the U.S. Department of Agriculture, which runs SNAP. Trump has touted it as a success. We lifted 3.3 million Americans off of food stamps, he said. Oh my God. Referencing figures since he took office. That's a record. Arizona saw the biggest drop in SNAP participation of all states since Congress passed the mega bill. This is July 4th enactment. These are other states. The government shutdown period and Arizona. Change in participation rates. Asked about the sharp decline in SNAP participants, Governor Katie Hobbs' press secretary Liliana Soto blamed Trump administration policies, which have increased bureaucracy and red tape on states across the country and forced DES to take difficult but necessary steps to reduce the state's payment error rate. Hobbs' administration is taking these steps to avoid staggering fines of hundreds of millions of dollars that would further endanger food assistance for vulnerable Arizonans, Soto said in a statement. But other factors have aggravated Arizona's situation. In 2021, the state legislature and their then governor, Doug Ducey, a Republican, passed a flat 2.5% income tax, largely benefiting the wealthy, which has forced more than $1 billion in spending cuts and fund swaps to balance the state budget in subsequent years. Ducey has defended the flat tax as necessary to ensure the state continues to be competitive and a jobs magnet and generator of opportunity. Well, how's that going? Last summer, DES also laid off about 500 employees in response to the elimination of federal grants and in anticipation of additional federal cuts. Officials said that about 160 eligibility specialists lost their jobs, a 40% decline in staff. In December, Hobbs, a Democrat, allocated $7.5 million to DES, most of which was used to hire more than 100 workers and increase overtime to handle SNAP cases. A spokesperson said applications are also slowed by 1980s technology it uses to administer benefits. What the fuck are you doing, states? Sorry. Where are you spending your money? Maybe you don't need, I mean, come on now. Hobbs asked for an additional $48.4 million in her 2027 budget proposal to help the department administer SNAP. The most recent federal data from 2023 shows that the state spends $70 million to operate the $2 billion program. Meanwhile, some seeking SNAP assistance told ProPublica that their applications remain in limbo, sometimes for months. Garcia, the mother of two, said she will keep trying to obtain the benefits. She's looking for work as a cook after being laid off from a car wash in January. Her family is living with her grandparents, where groceries are shared among 6 people. Sometimes her 3-year-old pats his belly when he's hungry for his favorite fruits like strawberries. At times, she hasn't received fruit in the boxes she received from the food bank. I'm in a pinch, she said. I'm struggling. So that's what's really happening. You know. I mean, really, a 40% drop in staffing and a 32% drop in participation in a food assistance program, in the most basic of basic programs. I can't believe it. Yeah, where is Barry the blood clot? I watched Heg, but kept getting distracted by the straining jacket button. He really is he might be eating too many Cheetos. I don't know. Yeah, he took food away from people. That's what happened. Yeah, I mean, you can claim fraud, blah blah blah, but this regime, even if you gave them the grace of thinking that they wanted to improve fraud and error rates and things like that, even if you gave them that grace, which I don't believe that's their real motivation, then you would do this process in a much different way, in that you would evaluate programs alongside the state. You would audit them. That is something that happens for all nonprofits. And through those auditing processes, you could probably find where there's not enough controls, or there's an antiquated system or something else. And those audits could inform how to improve the benefit systems in a state. But what is happening instead is, the regime is mad because certain states don't vote for regime people. And that is definitely not anyway. I wouldn't want the Democrats to do that in their power, right? And they're going to take power. So strap in, babes. But I don't want them to do that. I want us to be methodical. I want us to do process. I want us to be fair. And I want you to understand that there is a ton of MAGA in California. So if you think you're just hurting a bunch of lefties, you're absolutely wrong. You're actually hurting a lot of maggots too. Not that you care, but whatever. But this is my point, is that this is not what you expect a government to do. You don't just cut things off and say, prove that you're, and to have a state with an 8.8% error rate and demand that they go down to 6, right? That's fucking ridiculous. Like, these guys haven't proven to you what the level of fraud is that they found and that they've already cut. So when are you going to ask? When are you going to ask for a fucking accounting of what's been cut and why? When are you going to ask that your government actually manages and governs in a way that is following the Constitution and isn't constantly hauled into court week after week, day after day, and told by judge after judge that what they're doing is illegal? And they, just like Dump did his entire life, he lives in the middle. He lives in the appeal process. That's what his entire existence has been living in the appeal process or the delay process. And that's wrong. I don't care who you are. That's wrong. All right. I don't know if we want to go back to Jameson, TBH. I'm not sure I do, but I kind of do want to. Oh my God. I kind of do and I kind of don't. You know what I mean? I mean, maybe I kind of do and maybe I kind of don't. Okay.
Back protections.
We are going to watch the RFK thing. I'm not sure how far to go back on this. Maybe I won't go so far back. But I'll start with some Democrats because I can't take the bitches. Ah, you such bitches. Yeah, you bitches. Oh, wait. Did they take a break? Oh, they took a break. Okay. Oh, are they done? Oh, Oh, they're back. Okay. All right. We're going to join them coming back.
Under your leadership.
Oh, shit. Oh, God. RFK, I think you're a dude. You know that? I just want to say this for the record. Dude, I think you're a dude. And I just want to put on some jeans and sit in a pool of water with you. Yeah. It might make me pee a little, but it's okay. All right. I'll have a summary of Greer in my trade publications tomorrow. I'll share. Oh, excellently. Thank you so much. The Keebler elf. This guy's going to tell you just how amazing and how much of a man's man RFK Jr. is. Okay? Get ready.
Great things are happening. You've elevated the talk about let's get healthy so much that just last year I went to a food production facility in Jacksonville, Florida.
Oh, you did?
Danone, which makes Activia yogurt and Oikos Greek yogurt, Silk, International Coffees.
Yeah.
We did a little tour, but before that, their leadership says, we're changing all our ingredients. We're going to go ahead and voluntarily remove red dyes. We're matching what our production facility does in Europe to make healthy, and we're doing that voluntarily. So, which is exciting. I went last month. You did, and this is voluntarily. All of the medical schools have voluntarily says, let's change our curriculum and let's add nutrition and let physicians say that.
Wait a minute. Mister, are you saying that medical schools never taught nutrition? Wait, what?
What? What? What are you talking about? Are you saying medical schools never handled nutrition? Are you kidding me? Are you crazy? Oh my God.
I can't. These guys are crazy. That's Dr. Oz's line. Oh my God.
food is
Okay, we're
medicine.
gonna, yeah.
You did that. That was voluntary.
It is not fraudulent.
We have a bill, the
Oh, he's
Bean
got a
bill,
nice
it's
tan.
the Doge and
Wow,
spending
somebody's
bill. It
been
says,
out at
let's
the
check.
vineyard.
Let's check
You
to
know what
make
I'm
sure
saying?
that it's done first.
Somebody's
So
get-
put a good word in me.
How's he getting so much sun in the middle of winter?
With Secretary Bessent on that bill, and we'll do the same here. And then I also want to say, wouldn't it be better if Americans took more control of their health? I've got a bill that lets everybody, or at least a lot more Americans, have their own health savings account, so they can start putting dollars in to save for.
Really? And who would hold those health savings accounts? Senator Worthless. Who would do that? And it looks like you could stand to have a few less White Claws. I don't know. I think. Oh, he said he invented, nutrition classes at a medical school when he saw the need. Oh, yes. Yes. And did they also tell you about how the cost of production will increase the selling price to customers? Yeah, no, they don't talk about that part. They don't talk about that part, Lee. Yeah. Why do companies offshore? Profits. Which means when they're onshore, they don't make a profit. Which means they really need AI because otherwise they won't make a profit. Do you see how this is going now? It's not about you. It's about them.
For an emergency or
Oh
a
my God,
deductible.
would you shut up?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I appreciate it. And thank you, Mr. Secretary, for being here today. I know it's been a long morning, and hopefully it'll be almost over soon for you. And you've taken a lot of heat on both sides. There's a lot that I could talk about, but every time I go back home, I hear the same thing from our constituents about healthcare prices and costs. And earlier this Congress, I was one of 17 Republicans who decided to vote for the ACA extension because of the situation that I'm just a fundamental believer that I can't personally pull the rug out from underneath our constituents, at least 22,000 of mine, without providing a solution to the problem. And look, I think when it comes to longevity of life and everything you've done to get this country in better shape and health has been absolutely phenomenal. I myself care a lot about my health and what I put into my body and work out, and truly believe that what I put into my body in terms of eating food is medicine, and you are spot on about that. But
All right,
I would
get
just
on
love
with
to hear
it.
from you, and you've been working with us. Will you commit to working more with us in Congress, in a bipartisan way to make sure that we can find an amicable solution for the healthcare issue that we face in our country? And I just want to go back home and be able to look at, my constituents of the 7th District, which is Cuyahoga, Medina, Wayne, and Holmes, and soon to be Ashland, and just say, this is what we're doing. Here's the plan. We can, bring in more revenues. We can lower the
Well, then you're a
cost.
Democrat.
We can actually make this work for you, something that, the other party, and Speaker Pelosi said, we have to know what's in this legislation, after we pass it, and that is unacceptable. And so really just want to hear from you, path forward and working with you. I'd be very grateful.
I mean, in terms of fixing the system, I really think that we need to go to more individual choice and competition. And
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I yield back.
Mr. Horsford.
Thank you. I want to bring this conversation back to where I think it belongs, and that's with the people that we are all here to represent. Secretary Kennedy, while you're here, your boss is en route to my district in Las Vegas, trying to rebrand the One Big Beautiful Bill. But back home, my constituents aren't buying what President Trump is trying to sell, because they're living the real-life consequences of higher cost, less certainty, and real fear about losing their coverage and their access to care. During the majority's field hearing in Las Vegas last year, they shut out the public and brought in a paid actor. I took a different approach. I invited my constituents to share their real stories about what these healthcare cuts would actually mean for them. And what I heard wasn't a matter of politics, but rather of survival. One of those constituents is Deja, a mother of a medically complex child, Shay. Shay was born at 30 weeks. He spent 3 months in the NICU and came home on an oxygen and feeding tube, one he still depends on to survive today. He needs in-home nursing, specialists, and ongoing care, all made possible by Medicaid. Without it, his family would face inaccessible costs and copays, leaving Shay at risk of failing to thrive. I've also heard from another constituent, Richard, who told me that at the beginning of this year, his marketplace premiums went up $1,700 a month. He said he and his wife are effectively out of the economy. They don't go out. They don't get to go to restaurants. There's no discretionary spending because they're just trying to make sure that he has access to care. So families like Deja's and Richard's, to them, the healthcare affordability crisis is real and it's urgent. So let me bring it back to the basics: cost and coverage. What are you doing right now, Mr. Secretary, to lower premiums and to protect coverage for families like Deja's and Richard's?
Well, first of all, I would say, Congressman, there are no cuts to Medicaid. You look at the
What are you doing, Mr. Secretary? That's my question: is what are you doing right now? What are your priorities to reduce cost and ensure coverage for the American people?
Well, we negotiated the lowest drug prices in history, and we're implementing those now.
Stop
at the end
that.
Of this one amendment.
That is actually not true. If you look at TrumpRx.gov and you compare it with GoodRx, you know, that thing they talk about on TV all the time where you can get lower prescription, they don't even beat. Oh my gosh. Oh, someone bought something. Thank you. Oh my gosh. Including a Resist Trucker hat. Sweet. I don't even know who bought it, but I love it. Sweet. Thank you for buying some stuff. I hope you enjoy it and wear it in good health. I love it. I love it. Call sign Hashem. So here's the thing, okay? What he just said, he doesn't even have a good answer. What the guy is saying is a lot of people are worried about healthcare costs. I'm actually looking at some numbers on ACA enrollment and things like that. And that's what this man is talking about. And the fact that subsidies that were helping people pay their ACA or Obamacare premiums were removed. And that means people couldn't afford their health care anymore. And that is what he asked them about. What this douche whistle said is that, well, then people should shop around. And really what we want is for them to shop around. And guess what, kids? If Trump sends you the money for your health care, guess who still gets the money? The health care, not your doctor. You still need an insurance. He's saying he's going to send you the money that they would normally pay the insurance companies so that you can pay the insurance company. And what do you think is going to happen when an insurance company has to deal with individuals and not groups? You know, the reason that insurance premiums are lower in some cases is because there's a large group policy, and that's why in the past we couldn't just go to Kaiser Family Foundation and buy insurance from them because it didn't behoove them to sell individual policies. Okay? That's actually how the fucking system works. And when Trump tells you, I'm going to send you the money, that doesn't mean he's sending you extra money. He's sending you money so that you can turn around and pay what are likely going to be higher prices to the fucking insurance company. You're not cutting the insurance companies out of anything, you idiots. God, why are y'all so fucking dumb about this? Yeah. This isn't a benefit. They're trying to remove any affordability around healthcare because they don't want poor people to have healthcare. It is the end of liberalism. That is by design. It is removing safety nets. That's why, and what happened is, if you put work requirements on things, that also doesn't work. There is a huge study out of Georgia that tried to do that, and it proves time and time again that those programs do not work. They do not result in better outcomes. Jesus. But you're willing to give 42% more to a fucking pig's breath so he can drink it up with crab and whatever else he's bar carts or whatever he's doing. You know? Fuck, man. Get behind a single payer. Yeah, get behind it. I mean, be angry. Be angry about how you are being treated unfairly by this regime. They are pulling the rug out from under us. And then acting like, you know, they did something great with Trump RX. That's just like, in fact, there's I think there's a study or something out on the Trump RX, and that it's just a complete boondoggle.
Many things that
And how does that address coverage?
Well, in terms of insurance coverage, we're doing many things within the agency. We are, President Trump is right now with his.
What are you doing? You're the Secretary of Health and Human Services. Reclaiming my time. I'm asking about tangible actions and results. To me, the fact that you can't answer a basic question like bringing down cost and coverage, which should be your top priority, not some podcast, but actually addressing the needs of people. Now, like others, I want to make America healthy. I agree with the goal of moving from a sick care system to a true health care system focused on prevention. And prevention starts with the basics: clean air, clean water, and reducing exposures to toxins. So I'm struggling to reconcile the reports that some at EPA are working to roll back protections that would increase exposure to heavy metals in drinking water, arsenic, lead, mercury, and chromium. These are toxins linked to cancer, to heart disease, to stroke, and permanent brain damage in children. So just one question: were you consulted on those efforts to roll back those EPA protections? Yes or no?
No, I haven't been, but I'm happy to talk to you right now about a long list of things that we're doing to roll back insurance premiums. And I would begin that with skin substitutes. Our reform on that is reducing premiums in Medicare by 6% this year.
Have you aligned your goals dealing with the reforms to the EPA protections and how that is making people sicker, not healthier? That was my question.
Yeah, I could
He's
not
not gonna
answer
admit to
those
that.
questions because it's
You
not
can't
in my,
answer the question as the
on my,
Secretary.
it's on my agency.
You don't coordinate with the EPA, Mr. Secretary? Your department is not involved with rolling back protections that would increase exposure to heavy materials, even though it affects people's health? Is that what you're telling me? You don't coordinate?
I'd say, calm down, Congressman.
Don't tell
And the
me.
answer-
Look,
and the
healthcare is
answer-
personal
Okay.
to my constituents like Deja
Your
and
time
Richard.
is over.
Do not tell me to calm down. Healthcare is real. And if you can't answer basic questions, then maybe come prepared next time.
I'm answering the question. You don't give me the chance to answer. You haven't given me a chance to
You
answer.
said you
I'm happy
didn't-
to answer your
you said
question.
you
and
weren't-
you cut me off when I started to answer.
You said you
You started
did
screaming
not
at me.
consult.
Okay, the
with
time has
EPA.
expired. We're going to move on. Mr.
People
Yakima.
scream when they don't have much to
Thank you. Because what I was doing was I'm Bobby's brainworm. I'm Bobby's brainworm, and I was trying to tell you, I know, I'm sorry. I'm back now. Anyways, I was trying to tell you guys, I'm sorry. Lolo's stupid. I don't understand why Lolo is so dumb. She's dumb. Maybe she doesn't want me to speak. I don't know. Maybe she's like trying to oppress me. But anyways, I'm the brainworm. I'm Bobby's brainworm, god damn it. And I am trying to say something. And maybe Bobby was just having a moment trying to figure out how he was gonna spin the answer on you, Congressman. So you need to calm down. That's what Bobby says. So calm down, mister, because I'm Bobby's brainworm, and I have something to say. I'm gonna say it. Damn it! Everybody be quiet. The brainworm is starting to talk. I got things I have to say. I don't know how to say them, and sometimes the words are hard for me to think of because I got a lot of stuff swimming around up in here. I got some, like, whale heads and bear cubs, and I got all kinds of... And then there's that Olivia Nunzi girl. I love her. I still like her. Yeah, she was my favorite of all the mistresses. She was my favorite. But anyways, that's not the point. You need to let my Bobby erect penis. You need to let my Bobby speak. Give him a minute. Give him a minute.
Say.
You obviously don't have anything to say because you can't even uphold what it is
No,
you're
he
doing
killed his
to
wife and
reduce
committed suicide.
cost
Holy
and coverage.
shitballs.
Give me a chance to answer the question.
Yikes.
We're moving on to Mr. Yakum.
It's getting hot in here, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, for holding this hearing today. And thank you, Senator Kennedy, for being here today to highlight the important work that...
We need your help on the wage.
There are stark discrepancies in the way Medicare reimburses rural health care. Classified hospitals in 2017 to 435 in 2023. Can I get your commitment to help reverse this practice, prevent these abuses of the Medicare Trust Fund, and protect truly rural communities moving forward?
Yeah, I wish we could do it within my agency, but we need congressional help. It's a complex formula, as you can, but it's costing us $81 billion a year. It's now about 7% of drug prices, and it's unsustainable.
Thank you. With the epidemic of rural hospital closures, it should be easier for struggling hospitals to serve their rural communities through innovative options like the Rural Emergency Hospital model. To date, only 44...
I'm just saying, gray suit. All right? The gray suit issue. Okay, well, I think we've heard enough of Bobby Brainworm. Bobby and his brainworm. Bobby and the brainworms. Bobby and the brainworms. I'm Bobby and this is my brainworm. Bobby and the brain... He likes to study. Okay, is that what we're calling it now? All right. That's fine. Well, I was looking while Bobby the brainworm was talking, or stammering, I should say. I was looking at, what's the impact of the big ugly bill on ACA enrollment, right, that we know of to date? And I didn't find that, but I found this, which is a letter that the AMA, the American Medical Association, wrote to Bobby's brainworm on March 12th. And I thought I would go ahead and just read a little bit of it, not all of it, because it's probably really medical, hard to understand. But I thought I would, we should put an L's Lounge album. Oh yeah, we should. Oh yeah, Jane, we got a whole album already recorded. On behalf of the physician and medical student members of the AMA, I appreciate the opportunity to comment on proposed changes to benefits and payments for marketplace plans under the ACA for the 2027 benefit year. The AMA strongly supports policies that promote consumer access. I'm sorry, this could be a little bigger for you guys.
It could be a little bigger. I think it could be. Oops, not that big.
All right. Bum, 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 bum. Da, 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 da. Let me just spread it out a little bit. Okay. All right, here we go. The AMA strongly supports policies that promote consumer access and choice of quality, affordable coverage options. At the same time, we believe in the importance of ensuring all Americans have access to coverage that is not only affordable but comprehensive, including Americans living with chronic or high-cost conditions and those living in rural or underserved geographic areas. Without guardrails, several of the proposed policies intended to boost affordability could threaten meaningful coverage. Restrict patient access to care, destabilize risk pools and markets, and boost payer profits rather than lower patient out-of-pocket costs. That's right. That's from the doctors, folks. It is also critically important that any cost and benefit trade-offs to keep healthcare premiums low, including the depth of an in-network providers and higher out-of-pocket costs, be transparent to consumers upfront so they can make informed decisions. In this communication, we offer detailed comments on several proposed policies as well as additional recommendations for how to promote consumer choice and plan affordability while retaining sufficient coverage and access to medical services for all Americans. Let's see. Expanding less comprehensive coverage options. Affordability of health insurance is of critical importance to the AMA, which we see as intrinsic to patients being able to access the medical care they need and maintain strong relationships with their physicians. We strongly support offering consumers flexible options as one method to keep insurance products competitively priced and to offer consumers choice. However, we also believe it is important that coverage is not only affordable, but comprehensive. Less comprehensive coverage leads to higher unexpected out-of-pocket cost and increased uncompensated care costs for physician practices. Many consumers may not understand the implications of coverage options that offer lower premiums in exchange for higher out-of-pocket costs until they experience a health crisis and cannot afford the care they need due to prohibitively expensive out-of-pocket costs, forcing them to skimp on, delay, or forego medically necessary care altogether. In the end, this can lead to worse health outcomes and greater costs. Expanding catastrophic coverage. Catastrophic coverage was never intended to serve as a permanent replacement for comprehensive health insurance for enrollees. The deductibles are unaffordable for many, and pre-deductible coverage is limited. This is why restrictions such as limiting eligibility to those under the age of 30 or to those with narrowly defined affordability exemptions were established. The AMA is concerned that proposals in this rulemaking to broadly expand the availability of catastrophic coverage, including making catastrophic plans available to those 30 years of age or older, and allowing multi-year plans, conflicts with Section 1302E of the ACA and risks destabilizing risk pools and rates for the broader exchange market. Furthermore, guaranteed availability and renewability provisions are some of the hallmark protections against discrimination based on age, sex, health status, or other factors, as is the 3-to-1 age rating in which older Americans cannot be charged more than 3 times the premium of younger Americans. If HHS were to undo these important protections, it would result in coverage that is unaffordable, non-comprehensive, or both, particularly for older and medically complex Americans. For these reasons, we would not support proposals to broaden the availability of catastrophic coverage. If CMS does broaden catastrophic coverage and allow multi-year plans to vary rates over the course of the contract, average annual out-of-pocket limits, index rates, and medical loss ratio limits should not be able to exceed existing allowed annual limits. These limits are set to protect patients. Because catastrophic plans are typically geared toward healthy patients, it is more likely that they will incur significant expenses unexpectedly in a particular year, as opposed to expenses that are evenly dispersed over the course of a multi-year plan. We do not agree that allowing plans to collect more premiums or submit patients to higher cost sharing on the front end as a way to entice participants to remain in the plan for its duration align with the inherent purpose these statutory limits protect, to protect patients from untenable out-of-pocket costs in a given plan year, and should not be allowed. In addition, issuers should be required to clearly disclose any variable rate terms to consumers at the outset and have them proactively indicate that they understand the terms and conditions of their coverage, including any limitations or excluded benefits. Regarding mid-plan changes for multi-year plans, if term changes would benefit the patient, such as reduced deductibles or cost sharing to entice a patient to remain enrolled in a particular plan, these changes should be permitted. Otherwise, unless issuers receive explicit consumer approval to change the coverage or payment terms of their original contract, they should be required to honor the terms of their original commitment, including if their health status changes. While we recognize that there are guaranteed renewability exceptions under 2703 of the Public Health Service Act that allow issuers to cancel certain products or exit the market, if multi-year plans are allowed, it is critically important that these types of guardrails be put in place to ensure that plans are not permitted to change the terms or cancel insurance if a patient becomes more expensive to cover or tries to use their benefits after multiple years of paying premiums. These considerations must be carefully thought through before these types of plans are allowed to enter the market. It's not clear that these various types of scenarios have been fully considered. Therefore, the AMA would not support expanding access to catastrophic plans, particularly multi-year plans, until these considerations have been vetted more thoroughly. For similar reasons, the AMA would oppose allowing non-network plans to qualify as QHPs. While it is true that physicians are continuously frustrated by insurer administrative burdens, we do not believe that this proposal to offer non-network plans is a solution, as it merely shifts the burden of access and costs away from payers onto patients and physicians, increasing costs for patients and undermining the patient-physician relationship. In addition, the designation of these plans as QHPs will imply a level of comprehensive coverage to patients that will not be available in reality. I'm not sure I understand that. While requirements of such as plan outreach to providers and proposed balanced billing limits could mitigate some concerns, without established networks, we fear these plans would eventually end up serving as indemnity plans by another name. These potential complications are proliferated by loose definitions of key concepts like balanced billing limits that also come with a host of legal complexities. I think what that seems to be talking about is that you would kind of almost eliminate the network piece. I'm not sure if that's what is being implied. So I would need more information on what a QHP is. I mean, qualified health provider is probably what it means, right? I guess. I don't know. Sorry, I'm probably boring you guys. But it's important. This is the 2027 budget and priorities for CMS, so it is kind of going to be important, because what they're basically trying to do is they're going to claim that they made healthcare more affordable, but what they did was just get rid of the high premium or the high coverage plans. Yeah, that's what they're going to do to Medicaid and Medicare. Yep, it's going to be great. It's going to be great. It's going to be all kinds of dead people. It's going to be fantastic. The AMA does not support CMS's proposal to identify state-required benefits as in addition to EHB, and therefore no longer classify state-required benefits as EHBs eligible for federal outlays, even if included in the state's EHB benchmark plan. I don't know what EHB is. Oh, man. The ability of states to maintain some autonomy over their state benchmark plan in terms of adding EHBs I don't know, is important and can lead to improved access to care. All right, so a hold on states and their ability to do shit. Okay, establishing network adequacy standards as an important regulatory tool that used to ensure although exchange plans with restricted or no networks may be attractive to some consumers because the prices are lower, purchasers of these plans may ultimately have trouble accessing necessary care from in-network physicians. Removing federal time and distance, the AMA supports the use of quantifiable criteria to help ensure the sufficiency of health plan networks. This includes time and distance standards, which are integral to ensuring that in-network physicians and providers are accessible to consumers. That's good. For similar reasons, AMA would oppose lowering the minimum percentage of in-network essential community providers, federally qualified health centers, and family planning providers in a given service area from 35 to 20%. Okay, so they're reducing the minimum percentage of in-network essential community providers. The limit had to be 35%, but they want to reduce it to 20%. The AMA supported the initial proposal to increase the threshold because it would increase provider choice and access to care for low-income and medically underserved consumers. While we appreciate that issuers would have the ability to exceed the proposed minimum on an optional basis, this is insufficient to ensure these types of critical services continue to remain available to all patients. Yeah, the minute a market is not beneficial, healthcare will pull out of it. You know. Let's see. State enforcement of network. Okay, so that's just all the state shit. Loosening of standards for state-based. The AMA is concerned that allowing state-based marketplaces to forego a centralized and consumer-facing enrollment website and privatize enrollment functions. Yeah. Fuck that shit. Oh, they're privatizing Medicaid. Well, actually AMA, so it's the it's the ACA. Patients are assured that they will be purchasing an ACA compliant plan with all the patient protections associated with that designation, and for those eligible, a plan that allows for use of the subsidies. Under this new proposal, the marketplace website would display links to authorized brokers. Oh my God, but consumers would be responsible for sorting between marketplace plans versus other insurance products that are not subject to the same cost sharing or coverage standards. Oh my God. Yeah, moreover, it seems inconsistent that CMS would want to offer web brokers exclusive control over enrollment while they call these same brokers abusive, misleading, and coercive elsewhere in the rule. Yeah, God damn it. This is just nothing this regime is doing is really beneficial, okay? I'm so sorry to break it to you, but they are literally making changes that will benefit the richest among us. I'm so sorry to break it to you. I'll go ahead and link this in the description. God bless America. Discontinuing standardized plan requirements. CMS proposes to discontinue mandatory standardized plan requirements. The AMA appreciates the need to balance payer burden relative to consumer utility of mandated standardized plan options. However, removing this requirement in its entirety swings too far in the other direction and removes important consumer protections, particularly for rural, underserved, and other regions that have more limited plan offerings. Given silver and bronze level plans currently account for the vast majority of plans purchased through the ACA, CMS's alternative suggestion of requiring issuers to offer at least one standardized silver plan and one standardized bronze plan would strike a more appropriate balance. Leaving bronze and silver standardized plan requirements in place would also, so removing the basic requirements for a health plan. So that what you're looking at is not apples to apples. It's apples to persimmons. It's apples to persimmons. Oh, white flower petals are blowing off the trees. Oh, that's so sweet. I love the fog. Trans healthcare being removed as EHB is one of the strategies to cut our access to care. Yep, as it would allow. Yep, 100%. I mean, that would be the first, right? Hi, Macaroni. How are you? How you doing? Yikes, Mikes. They're trying to kill us. Soylent Green is people. Oh my God in heaven, why do you get me so mad? Woohoo! Woo! Jameson, goodbye, Jameson. Good night, Jameson. Good night, sir. I don't even know what to say anymore. You know, like I don't have any words. I just don't have any words. Oh, you leave dandelions, they'll be gone in a month. Yeah, they're kind of just here and there, here and gone. I'm trying to get the words off the, okay, there we go. Boop. Oh my God, sweet Jesus, help me one day at a time. Oh boy. Wow. What a life. What a life. Can I get an amen? Let's see. Today's Thursday. Okay. So I will be back tomorrow morning, and I will be back tomorrow night. So tomorrow it's a twofer. You get Lolo in the morning, Lolo in the evening. Who's been busy? Who's been busy? Have you been busy, Macaroni? This guy. Well, I'm so glad you stopped in, Macaroni. That's really sweet. Yeah, I don't even know. I'm so sorry. Like, this is all fucked up. This whole life is fucked up, and that's just the way it is. Neat. I'd try it. Yeah. Oh, the dandelion wine. I've heard of that. I don't think I've ever had it. And now, of course, I don't drink, so I couldn't try it if I wanted to. All right. Well, I'm going to keep it a little short today. I've got some appointments to run off to shortly. But I will see you all in the Discord, and I hope I see you tomorrow morning. And I have many more things to share with you. I'm sorry we didn't get to all of them today, but I will try. I'm really glad. I hope you learned something that you didn't know. I think I did. And so hopefully we'll go from there. We certainly learned that we have to keep an eye on Bobby the Brainworm because apparently
Bobby the Brainworm is going to take over. That's right. Okay, I'm making moves behind the scenes, folks. I've got this little 2027 plan where I'm going to take away everybody's health care. Eat raw milk, everybody!
Thank you, Bobby Brainworm. It's great to hear from you. I think you as Brainworm with baby voice was my favorite part. Yeah, I think that actually works. I think we've got a new character unlock. We have a new character. The Brainworm has a voice, y'all. The Brainworm has a voice.
And it's here to stay, bitches.
So we'll have Bobby's actual Brainworm come and report more about what Bobby's up to. Now, here's the thing. Guess what? Okay. Mama called it. All right. Mama called it. Day drunk Lori, the jobs one, not the farm one. She's going to be shit canned because her father, yeah, I don't like it when he called me stupid. I know he's an asshole, but whatever. Her father, the day drunk Lori, the jobs one, not the farms one, the other brunette. She is going to get shit canned real soon. And I called it. I just wanted on the record that I called that she was going to be the next one, not Tulsi Toenails. No. It would be Lori Chavez de Remer. She's about to be shit canned because not only is her husband getting handsy, Lori Chavez de Remer, she's the Secretary of Jobs. She gets day drunk. She makes assistants bring wine to her hotel room. There's all these texts that have been released. She's fucked. And her husband and her father have been texting young women that are on her staff. I am not joking. Her father is a fucking just a fucking predator. It's like a little family of predators, like a little tiny family of predators. Anyway, so watch for that news because Lori, the day drunk, the jobs one, not the farm one, she's about to get her ass kicked. Tulsi made a criminal referral to DOJ. Yes! Oh my God, I wanted to read about that too. Too many preds on the House floor. Too many preds. Where does MAGA find these people? I don't even know. I thought she was kind of normal. I mean, when she first opened her mouth, but then all bets were off because she's not. She's day drunk, and so she's making really, really terrible decisions. Yeah, hiring only the best people, and then promptly firing them. All right, y'all. That's all I can handle today, but I will be back tomorrow morning, and we'll talk about that. Let's talk about the Tulsi and making a criminal referral for the whistleblower. Make that make sense, okay? Make that make fucking sense. That's what a whistleblower is supposed to do, you stupid cunt. So Tulsi's real scared. She might be next after, but Lori's really got it going on. She's like drinking. She's sexting her staff. I mean, it's just all going crazy. So we'll wait for that. As far as I can tell, she's probably next. Anyway, I will see you tomorrow morning, and I'll see you on the Discords. I really think you're great. Thank you so much for coming to the show today. I always appreciate it. Sorry, I'm a little inconsistente with my timing these days, but we'll get back on track. All right. See you guys. Bye.